Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Liam Davies is the new EBU champ, super bantamweight champ. He adds that title and also the WBC International super bantamweight title, which gets you a ranking with the WBC. He adds those to his British title. He's really flying, Liam Davies. He beats Ionut Baluta, who fans will know this fighter. Because he's been to Britain several times before. He beat Kyle Williams on a split decision. That was back in 2019. He then came back and knocked out David Joyce. That was at the York Hall in 3 rounds. Then he fought Michael Conlon and took him to a split decision. And Conlon, he was flying. He was 14-0, and he had a rough time against. He won the fight, in my opinion. He won the fight, but he had a rough time. It was made very, very, very difficult by Baluta, and then Baluta came back to Britain again. Again, it was the York Hall, and he beats Brad Foster on a unanimous decision. So he knows the British game. He's been there before. He ended up against Liam Davies for the EBU title. Deserved shot, in my opinion. The title was vacant. This was a good matchup, and this was at the Telford Leisure Centre. Now, if you've seen Baluta fight before, you will know that he is a rampaging fighter, throwing huge overhand hooks and Hail Mary punches and roundhouse punches. He seems to throw punches as he gets into range, and he's very wild. To be honest, it doesn't look like he's ever really learnt the box, not by a textbook style anyway. But he can be very effective because he is tremendously aggressive, tremendously unpredictable, and he lands more punches than you might assume that someone with that crazy style would have. Liam Davies is the polar opposite. Liam Davies is a very good textbook boxer, stand-up fighter, likes to hold his shape, box in a very sort of conventional manner, good with everything. There's no real holes in his armour, really. Defensively, he's pretty good. But, he does have, I'm not saying but he does have that style which, I guess you would almost call it an English or European style. And that's not a slur. I mean, he does it very, very well. But you put the two contrasting fighters together and you're thinking, well, who is going to impose which style on the other? Is Davies going to be able to handle the sheer unpredictability and wildness of Baluta, or is Baluta going to be able to drag him into a scrap, which ultimately is what he wants? Well, from the early rounds, in fact, Richie Woodhull said this on commentary. He said, for Davies to win, he's got to stay disciplined and stick to his boxing and keep it nice and simple. And Errol Johnson in Davies' corner was saying the same thing. The worst thing you can do is to get dragged into a fight with someone who is wild, because you're giving up all your advantages. If you keep things simple, just keep sticking the jab on the guy. He hasn't got many ideas anyway, outside of being a sort of caveman. So what's he going to do? It's not the most entertaining of styles, but if you hold your shape, keep the jab pumping, counter, keep your feet moving, don't get dragged in. Of course, when with Baluta, when he gets close, there can be a lot of mauling, a lot of scrappy stuff. Don't let him lean on you. Don't let him drain your energy. Liam Davies did all of this stuff. He really did. I mean, he was so disciplined. Very, very impressive performance, I thought, by Davies. There were rounds when he kind of switched off a little bit, didn't do a lot of work, and Baluta was able to sort of win the rounds by just sort of scuffing and scrapping his way through them. But I had this 116-112 to Davies, as did one of the judges. I think one of the other judges had it, I'm going off memory now, 118-110 maybe, and then 117-111, I think. It was a unanimous decision for Davies, a deserved win. I mean, I was very, very impressed with this. I just loved his discipline. I love the fact that he stuck to his boxing, held his shape, and wasn't taken out of his rhythm or his game plan by a guy who is just wild, but strangely effective. If you don't have the skills, if you don't have that ability to just concentrate for every second of every round, and you can get dragged into a fight with this guy, and as we've seen before, Baluta has won a couple of times over here before. I think 2 or 3 times before, like I said earlier. You know, he can beat you. And Baluta, in fact, he only has 3 knockouts out of 15 wins, and doesn't have a great deal of power. But yeah, he can. The next thing you get dragged into a fight, and the next thing you know, the fight's over and you've lost because you or perhaps even subconsciously been dragged into a row. Davies didn't do that. Did very, very well, I think. The new EBU champ, already the British champ, WBC International champ. He's flying. And in the post-fight, he said he wants a world title fight. He wants the big fights, understandably so. Yeah, I mean, Baluta can go back maybe. He'll make money because he's a tough guy. He can take people rounds. His style isn't the most entertaining, but it is unconventionally effective. They'll probably bring him back against some prospect on one of the Warren shows, maybe. But yeah, good fight, good performance rather than a good fight. I think worth watching for Liam Davies' performance because it was impressive. And at world level, the jury's still out very much, I think. If I was him, I'd have a couple of defences of the EBU title just to get a bit more experience. It was a good 12 rounds. But European level, yes. World level, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Davies at the moment, what is he now at the moment? I think he's about 26. Super bantamweight, yeah. They don't age as much as they used to. 26 would have been in your prime for a super bantam. Now they fight well into their 30s, which for the smaller guys used to be considered very old, but not anymore. Anyway, it was on BT Sport. Go and have a look at the fight if you've got BT Sport. Try and check it out on YouTube. Find it on Daily Motion or something like that. Worth looking at. Leave your comments below, as always. And thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching this video. If you could hit the like button, that would be great. That helps the channel. And of course, subscribe. It takes a second to hit the subscribe button, and it is much appreciated. So you take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.